So I'm going to give you a little rundown on the supplies that you're going to want to use for our Drunkard's Path blocks, because this is by far the challenging part of this quilt. And we'll get to the half square triangles two at a time, and the other ones are just squares, so those are great. So what you're going to want to do to make your Drunkard's Path is you're going to want to have some pins. You're going to want to have that template that I had the video showing you how to make. You can use cardboard. Just know that your rotary cutter will cut through that if you're not careful. This is a little bit better, and I noticed even though I'm nicking it a bit, it is not dulling my blade as much as I would think. So you might want to have an extra blade to change once you finish this project. It should get you through the whole thing though. Obviously you're going to want a rotary cutter. This is going to make your life really easy. Just get a fabric glue stick for this block. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And so that's your supplies. If you have a rotating mat, I have this round one or I have a square one, that makes it a little bit easier, so you can just leave the template on it and cut as you go and turn it. But it's not necessary, just any cutting mat will work. So this is going to feel like we're wasting a lot of fabric, but I want to give you a little extra room to practice with this. And so you can line this template right up to the edge and cut this out. And that's usually what I do, because I don't really need to have any extra. But the first couple of times you're going to want to practice on some scrap, and you may want a little bit extra. And so you can actually move this template just a bit, and we're actually going to get two, one from each side, and then this center, we may have a little extra bonus project at the end of the month, because we can use those centers as petals, which is really fun, and we'll see how that goes. So the best way to cut this, again, watch your fingers, go nice and slow, go off the edge. And if you notice I back cut, I've noticed that that's a good way to make sure that we get all the way through the fabric, because we want to make sure we don't move when we're doing that. So there we go. And then we have our piece. However, we want to make sure that's lined up. You do want to cut these edges off, because that really matters when we're making that. So I'm going to trim those little tabs. And when I take this over to the sewing machine, we'll have a little extra, and then we'll actually trim the block to our 5 inches that we need for the pattern. So, but you absolutely can cut it shorter and just go for the 1/4 inch. So whatever you're comfortable with. Like I said, find some junk, cheap fabric that you want to just practice a couple on and see how it goes. For the colored portion of our Drunkard's Path, again, I'm just using a scrap fabric. I will be using the Fabulism wovens in this one. And I'll be showing you a few of the tricks and tips for those, because they do play a little different into the blocks. And so and this one, you just need a 5.5, actually a 5-inch square. This one's just a little short. And then we're just going to trim this off here. So this has very little waste. And you know, I don't know what you all do with your scraps. I actually keep these because you can do a little paper piecing, or there's a little block in there. So put it in your scrap bin, or if you just want to get rid of it, don't feel guilty. There's just a lot of little pieces that we're never going to use things with. So that's what you do with that one. And then we have our 2 pieces that are all ready to go, and it will go together just like this. So we're going to take it over to the sewing machine. Actually, I'm going to pin it for you here, and then I'll take it over to the sewing machine and show you how we put that together. Now we've already cut our 2 pieces, and what I'm going to show you is a little trick to get these lined up. So what you need to do is find the middle on both of these. The easiest way to do this is just fold it in half, give it a nice finger press that you can see. That's right there. You take this one and do the exact same thing. Give it a good finger press, and then you're going to grab one of your pins, and it's going to feel backwards, but you're going to pin the centers just like this. You're going to line those edges up, pin it in there. Doesn't have to be fancy. So here's the little trick to make your life a little easier. You can actually pin all the way across. However, if I don't like getting poked, I found this trick, I believe, at Missouri Star, and it works great. So you're going to take this glue and you're going to put a tiny little dab just on the corners of your main fabric block here. This washes out, and it just is going to be a little tack to hold our ends so that they stay aligned. So we're just going to press that on there. It's just going to stay. It's not extremely difficult. You can reposition it if you need to. And so now we're going to take this over to the sewing machine, and we're going to stitch along this edge, and we're just going to ease this in, and then we're going to use our iron to finish the magic. And then I will show you how we're going to trim this one down, because remember, we did give ourselves a little extra room on this one.